So, Dr. Grace, why do you want to tell your story?
Well, I believe every story ever told, has a unique lesson, and there are certain hidden lessons and experiences that the storyteller, would want people to learn. And mine is not any different. I'm coming from Nigeria, where a lot of people find it difficult to be open about their health challenges. But in recent times, a lot of people have been bold to come forward to say, "Oh, I have this, I have that," and I've seen stories of cancer survivors in Nigeria. They share it to encourage people, not necessarily to draw pity to themselves, no, but to encourage people out there that they went through it, and you can also go through it and also overcome. And one thing I discovered about cancer, cancer doesn't discriminate. It doesn't go for the rich and leave the poor. No, it comes for all, rich, poor, young, old, fair, dark. It's not peculiar to a particular race or culture. No, you could be healthy tomorrow, and tomorrow you may come down with cancer. And that is why a lot of scientists have attributed cancer to diet, to lifestyle, and also the genetic aspect of cancer. Like I said earlier on, a lot of people in Nigeria tend to keep certain things to themselves. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I was open about it and I told people I have cancer. And in that process alone, I discovered so many people. Oh, I had cancer too. And I was like, when? A lot of people tend to keep it, within themselves, but you don't have to blame them. It's the culture. Because, for example, in Igbo land, if a man wants to get married to a woman, the family of the man go and find out what happened to the woman's grandfather, great grandfather, if there are peculiar illnesses that they believe that their grandchildren could, contact. And when, for example, if they have mental issues and some men get discouraged and, they turn back. So as a result of that, a lot of people are not open when it comes to certain diseases like cancer, like kidney problem, like mental issues, and it's not really helping matters. If people are open about it, it's going to go a long way in helping both your spouse know, oh, look, this person is prone to this and could, prepare for it. My husband was clearly aware that, look, because I'm educated and he's also educated, when my mom died of cancer, I knew I was predisposed to cancer. I knew I could come down with cancer. Now, it's not a must that if you lose a parent to cancer, you must come down with it. So that is why it's important you do the BRCA test to find out if you're genetically disposed to cancer. And I knew I was genetically disposed to cancer. So there were certain things I had to cut out, when it comes to my meal and secondly, I decided to share my story because in the course of my treatment, I got to discover I had lost family friends, sisters, relatives, to cancer. And there seems to be an increasing rate of cancer in women within the age bracket of 27 to 37. So the myth of wait till you're 40, you begin your regular screening is no longer working. Because if you look at, I went through a research of recent, and 25% and 15% of death rates in women in Nigeria is actually caused by cancer. And this cancer is no other than breast cancer. So, for example, my friend Sandra, she was 27 years old. We lost her to breast cancer. I can go on. Izioma, and there's so many people, and a family lost two daughters at the age of 37 to breast cancer. So, what could be responsible for the increasing rate of cancer in young women? There was a research in Poland that actually that in 2016, and it was actually warning because they discovered the increasing trend of cancer in young women. And unfortunately, Nigeria is being hit by that now. And I will gladly show you via research. So I want you to come along with me. Let me show you few things to prove. to you. Okay, so this is a research done by Azubike et al. In Nigeria in 2016. Actually, he looked at the increasing rate of breast cancer in sub-Saharan Africa. And if you look at the chart, we can see that Mauritius is actually leading. And now the blue line indicates the incidence rate, while the brown line indicates the mortality rate. And we can see that after Mauritius, they have an increasing incidence of 64.2%, but the mortality rate is 18.8. And when you look at Nigeria, Nigeria is next, Nigeria is second. We have increasing incidence of 50.4, while the mortality rate is 25.9. And if you go down this chart, you will discover that the mortality rate of Nigeria is higher in Africa. So just take a look at it. The mortality rate of Nigeria is at 25.9%. And if you scroll down, you see that is the highest. So quickly, let's go to the Global Cancer Observatory for 2020. And here we can see all the continents in the world. And if you come down here to West Africa, West Africa has 41.5 with 22.3 mortality rate, which is also high. And if we go further, you will discover that Nigeria has the highest rate of mortality incidence of breast cancer in Africa, and West Africa to be precise. So, with the chart I have shown you so far from various researchers who have given their opinion about the increasing rate of cancer in young ladies, I mean, it's alarming for a lot of young ladies, to be caught unaware. So we have to take this gospel outside to, give advice to cancel people. So many people are not even aware of their genetics, and so there are a lot of things that could trigger cancer even if you're not genetically disposed to it. It could be your diet, and it could also be your lifestyle. There are a lot of cosmetics out there with heavy metals, and people are just using it. People are not really aware of what is actually giving rise to cancer, and that is why I'm here to educate a lot of people. And if to educate a lot of people and to walk that journey with them. If you give me a call, if you send me an email, I promise to give you the best counsel that I can. And another thing that made me want to share the story is previously our mothers, when I mean our mothers, my mother's generation, when you hear a woman has cancer, she should be like 60, 65, 40. But these days, it's the age is, coming down. And apart from that, the survival rate in those, in that previous generation is 10 times higher than this generation. Our generation, my generation, can barely survive it. It's not an easy task. So it's something that we all have to come together to say, hey, look, let's not let this cancer, this breast cancer, wipe off our generation. The knowledge you have, you can share. What I did was I had to go back, I had series of, health talk discussion with women who had survived breast cancer for 10 years, 15 years, and they told me, oh, this is what I did after my treatment, after my surgery, after my chemo, and some of them that didn't even use chemotherapy. Some people decided to go the herbal way, and some of them are still alive. But why are we not seeing success rate despite the advanced medical facility or medical treatments we have that our parents didn't have? But why don't we have that increased survival rate like our parents do? So it's something that we need to go back to the drawing board. Aside our medical facilities not being fully equipped, but there are other things our parents did that we are not aware of. And I'm here to share this knowledge with people because I have spoken to not one, not two, not three countless number of people, and with time I hope to have them on my channel to discuss how we can cancer is not just a one man's problem. No, it's it's a family problem. Let me put it that way. You need people that will guide you, people that will support you, people that will hold your hands. At the end, it's your decision. You make your own decision of what you want to do. Quickly, I'll tell you a story why I felt compelled to share my story. So while I was at this cancer research institute, that day I had chemotherapy. So I was seated, and outside I could hear a lady who has just been diagnosed with cancer, but I don't really know the type of cancer she was diagnosed with, and she was crying. The husband was trying to console her. She came with her brother, her husband, and I think her mother also, or mother-in-law, I'm not really sure. So she was crying. The noise was filtering into where I was. So fortunately, the restroom of the hospital was kind of like outside the corridor where she was. So with my stand, my infusion, my stand, I was on chemo. I was walking out, and the husband tapped her and said, "Look." And all of a sudden, I turned and I looked. She became quiet. She became quiet. So I went to the restroom, eased myself, and as I was coming back, she asked me a question. "How old are you?" And I told her my age. And she said, "I'm older than you, and you're going through this." And she wiped her tears. And at that moment, I realized I had given somebody hope. And I told my husband, document my journey. I would share it to anybody that I can reach out to. And that was how I decided to share my story. Thank you.